What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. We cover political news. We keep you up to date and keep you informed with everything that the government does because, by God, the government is burning down right now, if you will. They are crashing hard. They are failing all over the place. You know, the federal bureaucracy has failed the American people. Congress has failed the American people. And I don't know what the hell we can do to steer the ship on the right trajectory. You know, the primaries just happened in a lot of places, and you know, a lot of people I was rooting for to get voted in the primary to go on to the general didn't make it, y'all. And that is a lot of congressional members. And that's the only way we can change this country, is by voting in the primary and making sure we get fresh blood in Congress. Hey, we've got to do that, y'all. We've got to get out there and vote with our feet. In other words, get out there and vote for somebody new for our district. Wherever you're at, whoever your congressman is, vote them out. I mean, unless it's a Freedom Caucus member, you know, like Matt Gaetz, Chip Roy, Byron Donalds, Anna Paulina Luna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, people like this, Thomas Massey. There's several others, but I can't remember all those names. I'm not going to run off all those names, even if I could remember all of them. But you know who the good congressional members are. But we've got to get new blood in there, y'all, because the bureaucracy is getting out of control. But check this out, y'all. Speaker Johnson announces plan to take on justice system following Trump conviction. Yes. Now, finally, we're getting some sort of action from Congress on this. This was outright BS. This whole thing just blew my freaking lid right off, blew my head right out the backside, and just watching everything take place, the jury instructions, I can't stress that point enough. The jury instructions were insane. You know what? I saw this clip earlier just to drive my point in. Check this out.
At most, you're talking about a misdemeanor that would have already expired under the statute of limitations. I'm not even convinced that there was really a misdemeanor that Trump committed. So my fellow panelist here is celebrating that the rule of law has been vindicated and overturned 234 years of American legal tradition. I would challenge her to see if she could possibly articulate how and what crime Trump committed, because so far Alvin Bragg, the DA, has failed to do so. The judge in the case, Judge Merchan, has failed to do so. And they can't do it because Trump didn't commit any of the crimes for which he's been convicted.
Well, let's just ask quickly before I go to Kevin. Francesca, just on that point, what crime did Trump commit?
It was financial crimes. It was white collar crimes. That is exactly what they charged him. He was convicted on.
What was the crime?
It's New York State law.
I understand. What was the crime?
It is New.
Francesca,
I don't even like it. It is
hang on,
he just got convicted on 34 counts.
Francesca, what was the crime?
Of like cooking the actual books.
What was the crime?
You are not allowed. So you are not allowed to use your own financial, like your own money, to pay off somebody, and then he logged it as something different. He logged it as just a regular payment, but he was actually paying off this porn star to keep quiet, which, if he hadn't been running for president, would not have mattered, but he was, and so it impacted campaign finance laws in New York State. Okay, that is what Juan Merchan just oversaw this.
Okay.
Alvin Bragg brought these charges because Michael Cohen, his sister, was already sentenced to 3 years to do it.
Okay, let's just go before Kevin. I'd be very, very, very patient. We'll come to you.
Look, I'm no expert. Let me just say, hang on,
No,
Michael.
Francesca.
You are no expert.
By the
That's
way.
right. The campaign finance law is a federal law.
Hang on,
Anyway,
Francesca. I want to go to Mark. You're the lawyer. Is anything Francesca just said, is that actually the crime?
Look, let me just say, I like Francesca a lot, and we probably agree on 80% of our worldviews. However, Francesca, the way you just described it, call me afterwards and I'll educate you, because that's not what happened. There was no theory that was given to the jurors. The jurors were told it could have been campaign finance. It could have been tax. It could have been false books. They were told they didn't have to specify, and specifically told they did not have to agree unanimously. That's what irks me. Lifelong Democrat, no fan of Trump, never voted for Trump, never will. But I will tell you, as somebody who has spent his entire career with kind of taking on unpopular causes and holding the government accountable, I have to tell you, I do that for a reason. And the reason is this kind of shenanigans, and that's the best light I can spin it, in the criminal courts has no place in a federal election.
No, I agree.
The campaign finance laws were federal, not state, and the state laws had nothing to do with it.
Okay, I want to go.
This lady is cheering for something that she knows absolutely nothing about. She's like, yes, convict Donald Trump. But on what? She doesn't even know. The judge didn't even know. That's why it was a freaking multiple choice. And, you know, as a matter of fact, one of those in the multiple choice is a federal violation. It's a federal law that was broken. Hang on. A state, local Manhattan district attorney can't charge him. Right? They weren't charging him with the elevating crime. Does that make any sense to anybody out there? Right? Like, let me know down in the comments if that makes any sense to you guys. They weren't charging him with the elevating crime. They elevated the misdemeanor to a felony. Yeah, he wasn't charged with that. He was only charged with the falsifying of business records. That's another aspect that makes absolutely no sense in this thing. And once this thing hits appeals, oh my God, it's going to blow right apart. That's why I don't believe Trump is actually going to go to jail. You know, I said yesterday that, you know, why not go to that extreme? But I do believe that these people actually know what they're doing. And they just wanted to get that Trump conviction, right? But they know that as soon as this thing goes to appeal, it's going to be overturned. So it may be a little bit of cover your ass here if they don't actually sentence him to jail time, or maybe if they do sentence him to jail time or something like that, put a stay on it until the appeals process plays out. If they put a stay on it, a little bit of cover your ass for any repercussions that may come from this, like malicious prosecution and all that other stuff. But let's go ahead and get into the story right quick. Speaker Mike Johnson announced a three-pronged approach Tuesday to go after the justice system following former President Trump's conviction. The plan, according to Johnson, includes using the appropriations process, legislation brought to the floor, and Congress's or congressional oversight authority to take on the Justice Department. Thank you. This is something I've been screaming for a while. You can use the appropriations process to beat these people over the freaking head when they get out of line. Like I always say, Congress is the most powerful institution in this country, but they don't wield that power at all. Whatsoever. They don't wield it in any instance. And finally, after railing about this for a long time now, they're finally using that power of the purse to punch people in the freaking face. And I hope they go through with it. I hope this isn't just rhetoric. I hope this isn't just a strongly worded letter, because we see a lot of strongly worded letters, y'all. And let me tell you something. A strongly worded letter doesn't do a damn thing. All those things will be happening vigorously because we have to do that, because the stakes are too high and because people are losing faith in our institutions, Johnson said at a press conference. And that, at the end of the day, is something that should concern every single one of us, and I think it does. The Speaker's rollout comes less than a week after a 12-person jury found Donald Trump guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records. Yeah, we get it. Johnson and other Republicans have railed again at the verdict, accusing Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg of having campaigned on prosecuting Trump and taking aim at Michael Cohen, the prosecution's star witness, as untrustworthy. What do you mean, accusing? No, that's not an accusation. That is a fact. You see how the corporate press, they love to twist things around. Oh, it's just an accusation. No. There's campaign videos to prove this. There's campaign speeches to prove this, corporate press. Why do you got to lie to people? Why does the corporate press have to twist stuff around? Pisses me off to no end. House Republicans have already begun carrying out elements of their three-pronged strategy. Last week, House Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan announced that he would demand that Bragg and Matthew Colangelo, another prosecutor on the hush money case, appear for testimony about the unprecedented political prosecution of Trump. You know, and what they don't say right there is that Matthew Colangelo was a former DOJ prosecutor that took a demotion and went down to Manhattan just to prosecute Donald Trump. Jordan fired off a letter. Oh, here we go. Another strongly worded letter, y'all. You better watch out. He's going to bust some heads with them strongly worded letters. Yeah, they can do some really good damage like black eyes and broken noses and stuff like that. When you have such strong words in a letter, it just makes people recoil and shiver scared. Yeah, right. To House Appropriations Committee Chair Tom Cole, asking that his panel include a number of reforms in the government funding process this year, such as nixing funding for the FBI that is not essential for the agency to execute its mission. Why? Why stop there? Why not just nix their entire budget? Just blow them right out of the water. As a matter of fact, don't stop with just the FBI. Go ahead and nix the DOJ as well. Eliminating federal funding for state prosecutors or state attorneys general involved in lawfare, and getting rid of federal funding for federal prosecutors taking part in such abuse. Yes, thank you, recommended. Please do it. You know, I would love to see them do this. Why are we giving federal dollars to state and local prosecutors anyway? Why? I don't understand that. Why should the U.S. taxpayer, who is already paying local taxes to fund these people, have to pay federal taxes on top of that to fund these people? You wonder why we're in a deficit, a $1.7 trillion deficit at that. These people are insane, y'all. Why? I just don't get why we are funding crap that we don't need to be funding. Johnson re-upped his argument Tuesday that the prosecution and ultimate conviction of Trump represented an attempt by Democrats to hurt the former president's chances of winning another 4 years in the White House. But guess what? It's not doing that. He raised an ungodly amount of money off that conviction, and his polling numbers went up due to that conviction. You might say, oh, well, it wasn't due to the conviction. Well, you know, just so happened his polling numbers went up right after he got convicted. So what does that tell me? It went up due to that. You got a lot of people out there saying, yeah, oh yeah, I'm voting for Trump now. Yeah, this weaponized government has been weaponized against us, against the American people. Everybody in this country should be pissed off about this, knowing, you know, but we've got to get the corporate press to tell these people the facts, bring the truth out there that this whole prosecution was bullshit, right? Once again, it's analogous to giving somebody a speeding ticket for going 1 mile an hour over the speed limit. And then guess what? Upping that speeding ticket to a felony reckless operation on, you know, take your pick. Was it drunk driving? Was it malicious driving? I'm trying to think of something else, but I can't think of nothing else. Driving under the influence? Well, that then, you know, a question should come in. Okay, well, was he driving drunk when he was speeding? Or was he driving crazy when he was going 1 mile an hour over the speed limit? Well, no, we're not charging him with DUI. Huh, I wonder why not. Because he wasn't driving drunk. It's just insane, y'all. It really is insane. That's a pretty good analogy, if I must say so myself. As a matter of fact, go ahead, let me know down in the comments what you thought about that one. They see this happening, and they're so desperate to stop them that they are willing to use the judicial system to do so, Johnson said, referencing polling that shows Trump leading Biden in key states. It is a new low, and it's a dangerous one. They're eroding the people's faith in our system of justice itself. As House Republican leader Steve Scalise said, people have to believe that justice is blind. You have to believe that there is equal justice under the law in order to maintain a constitutional republic, he continued. This goes to the very core of who we are, the foundation of who we are as a nation. And that's why it's bigger than just President Trump. It's bigger than just these cases. It's about our system itself. And because of that, there's a backlash. Yeah, I would have to say there's a major backlash. Like you saw in that video, that one guy that was arguing on behalf of Trump, essentially, he is not a Trump ally. He's a lifelong Democrat. As a matter of fact, he hates Donald Trump. And he was saying this is outright ridiculous. In all of his years of being in the legal field, he has never seen anything like this. It's just outright insane. But it's high time that Congress takes some action. By God, they have the power of the purse. And just like an old lady with somebody trying to rob her, she can take that purse and beat them over the freaking head with it. May not kill them, but eventually they're going to get tired of getting hit over the head and they're going to go away. But it's like I said, it's high time Congress do something. They have that power and they don't ever use that power. And by God, ever since Joe Biden came into office, they've been needing to use that power. He is denied oversight on a constant basis. He has violated federal law at that southern border. He has given the middle finger to the Supreme Court and saying, oh, you say I can't do something? I'm going to find a way. I'm going to do it anyway, regardless of what the Supreme Court says. The highest court in the land. Joe Biden said, screw you, I'm doing it anyway, go F yourselves. He told that to congressional oversight as well on a constant basis. I've covered story after story after story of Joe Biden denying oversight, telling them, you don't need this evidence, you don't need to see this tape, you don't need to see this document, you don't need this audio file over here. Yeah. No, that's what oversight is supposed to be for. You don't get to tell the overseer what the overseer can see. The overseer sees what it wants to see. And that's the only thing that makes our constitutional republic work, is checks and balances. And when one of those branches of government gets out of hand and doesn't adhere to the checks and balance system, you get unbalanced. And when you get unbalanced, you know, that balance can tip in a tyrannical way. And we don't want a tyrannical government. We have, like I said, checks and balances against that. But if the checks and balances ain't working, like I've been saying, I hate to be repeating myself, but if the checks and balances ain't working, then you don't have a government, y'all. You have a tyrannical dictatorship. That's what that is. That's not a government. That's not a government for and by the people. That is a government for and by Joe Biden. That's what that is. And it's at this point, it's really hard to deny that, given everything Joe Biden has done. From the climate change front, to the southern border, to funding of foreign wars. For God's sakes, just giving billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine, pushing all of Russia's buttons. Like, yeah, I understand Russia invaded Ukraine. You don't have to give me some history lesson on that. I know that. But you know what? Russia invaded Ukraine. Where in that is the United States? Yeah. On the other side of the world, where we should stay. That is none of our business. Ukraine is not an ally. Ukraine is a former Soviet state. In other words, it's a former Russian state. Has nothing to do with us whatsoever. We don't have any peace treaties with Ukraine. We don't have any defense treaties with Ukraine. We don't have any treaties whatsoever with Ukraine. We do a little bit of trade dealing with Ukraine, and that's about it. Oh yeah, and by the way, paying for their doctors, police officers, firefighters, paying their salaries, their pensions, funding their military, funding their wars. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't go to work Monday through Friday, 6 to 3:30 every single day to pay for a war. That's not why I go to work. I go to work to feed my family, but I have to pay taxes on that money, and I don't like paying taxes that get spent on stuff that I don't like. And I know I don't necessarily have a say in that. I kind of do, right? Vote with your feet. put a different congressional member in there. But you know what? We have to get the American people up and out of their seats and go vote in primaries to get new congressional members into Congress. You can't just have a primary and not go vote and think, well, I'll just go vote in the general election. Well, at that point, you're going to have two choices, Republican or Democrat, for the most part. I know there's independents out there in certain places, but the ubiquity of the Republican and Democratic Party means that you're probably just going to be voting for either Republicans or Democrats. And at this point in time, Congress has failed the American people, and we need to put new congressional members in there. We don't need the same old same, because if you vote your congressman right back into office, do you think anything is going to change? Do you think one day these people are just going to wake up and be like, I'm going to start doing the right thing. I'm going to start voting in the interests of the American person and in the interests of my constituents. You think after being there for so many years, they're just going to change their mind one day? No, I don't think so. You got to get fresh blood in there, and you and me are the only people that can do that. I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. Are y'all glad to see at least they're saying they're going to do something? Or are you going to hold out and wait and see if they actually do something? Let me know down in the comment section. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching. And y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.